For that title here in Atlanta at the Omni just a couple of weeks ago. Dusty Rhodes, of course, had to immediately pick up all of the contractual commitments of Harley Race. He's been on the move. There's no question about that, defending the World Heavyweight Championship throughout the entire United States. And Dusty Rhodes had these comments, and I think they certainly bear listening to at this time. Here's World Heavyweight Champion Dusty Rhodes.
You know, this is the envy of many a man, you understand? Harley Race for 4 years, you know, I remember chasing Harley Race all over trying to win this piece of gold. Now I got the piece of gold. Now let me tell you something. There is one man above everybody else, above every other single human being that has got to be the real thorn in my side. Now I can testify all night long, but when I was laying on the concrete in Atlanta, Georgia, out beside my car, jumped, beaten with a tire tool, I got thinking about reality. Now, you can write what you want. You can talk about wrestling. You can talk about all the great fighters and all the great wrestlers and all the great football players and all the great athletes all over the world. I'm one of them. I am the man right now, Jack. And when I was laying, like I said, on that concrete, I thought of one thing. There is one man behind this thing. And it's going to come down sooner or later to me and Ole Anderson. Sooner or later, somewhere, someplace, he going to get his chance at it. Like I say, I don't do it with finesse. There's some things I do with finesse. I do it with violence, vengeance, and I kick honey. Ole Anderson, you choose the place. You choose the spot. I wonder if they ever had a world's title match in the parking lot. I'm going to put this belt up every single place I can, no matter how big or small. Think about the parking lot and the concrete real cold. Ole Anderson, you named the place.
Put some shoulders to the mats. But you know something, Gordon Soley? You still don't see no titles draped across these shoulders. But it's all going to come to a change, baby. It's all going to change. We're going to start out, and we're going to get the Georgia Tag Team titles. And we're not going to stop there, are we, brother?
Let me tell you something, brother. We ain't going to stop from doing anything. We're going to try to take every title that we can. We're even going to try to even take the World Tag Team titles. Every title that you name that's in the country or in the territory, everywhere. You bet you. But we're going to go right to that top and try to take everything.
Well, all right, I can understand. Obviously, everybody would like to become champions, but tomorrow night at the Omni, you got a man standing in your way, a young man by the name of Jay Youngblood. He's got vengeance in his
Well, let
heart.
me tell you something. This little punk, I don't know why is he still coming around and trying to get into that ring and try to think that he's a big shot or something. Well, let me tell you something, Jay Youngblood. You might be chasing this man around. You have to chase him around because he's around everywhere. But tomorrow night at the Omni, I'm going to send you right back to the Indian reservation where you belong, you punk.
Famous families from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. At 225 pounds, here's Bruno Sammartino Jr. Bruno Sammartino Jr.
Okay, Ed Timms going up against Bruno Sammartino Jr. Bruno Sammartino Jr., I might point out, of course, the son of Bruno Sammartino, is an outstanding champion in professional wrestling, and boy, I'm telling you, this Sammartino moves. At 225 pounds, I might point out that in 1979, this young man was declared, he is specialized in powerlifting all of his life, and was declared the strongest teenager in the United States, and that was just 2 years ago. A young fellow with great ambition. He's got a big pair of shoes to fill, I might point out, because of his dad, but might also point out that as a second-generation wrestler, he has been wrestling since he was about 3 years old. Caught in a side headlock now by Timms. Timms has approximately a 40-pound weight advantage on him. Sammartino dropped to the canvas that time. Bruno Sammartino Jr. catches him. A good flying drop kick coming off the ropes. Tim's able to power out. Wow. And there's exactly what I was talking about. Powerlifting champion, and he used it to good advantage that time. Brought up some 260 pounds into a full body slam. And foot on the ropes. The referee calls for the break. Bruno Sammartino Jr., good clean break, steps back. Tim's coming up. And Tim circling away now, viewing this man with an added dimension of respect. Good feint. Went for the hands on the shoulder, then dropped into a drop toe hold. Took his man to the canvas, moved in on, took him to once again, but they're into the ropes. The arm bar into a takedown, into a hammerlock. So Sammartino Jr. has learned well from his father, no question about that. He's a good chain wrestler, moves from hold to hold.
Come on, break it off.
So he floats that other arm, and Timms gets that foot up on the ropes and forces the break. And so, clean break, he steps back. Tim circles and moves in, and Sammartino with an arm drag takedown once again into an inside armbar. As years of powerlifting, you can see the outstanding muscular conformation of Sammartino Jr. We see some great second-generation wrestlers throughout the country now. Such fellows as Sammartino, Ted DiBiase, son of the late Iron Mike DiBiase. From the arm bar to an arm drag now, to an arm twist, and drove that knee into the shoulder area and takes Timms back to the canvas once again. Drives the knee into the back of Timms. Now hooks that arm once again. Now this way he'll bring him back using the back of his head as a lever. Try and bring Timms' shoulders back to the canvas. Once again, though, too close to the ropes, and Timms was able to force the break by getting into the ropes. Single leg pickup as Sammartino swept to one side, took him off his feet, and goes to the inside armbar once again. So Sammartino applying extra pressure now. Comes down across that arm, so he's steadily working on that left arm, taking away Ed Timms' capabilities on that left side. Once again, Timms into the ropes, and Timms now beginning to favor that arm. He's having some problems with the arm and the shoulder. And obviously this is Sammartino Jr.'s strategy involved. Once again, they meet collar and elbow. And it was Ed Timms bullying Sammartino back into the ropes. Now drives a knee to the midsection. Now a chest to the chest. A shoulder to the chest, rather. And it is Timms still favoring that arm, still having problems. They lock up collar and elbow. Timms with a forearm into the chest, another one. And Sammartino Jr. taking all that pressure, catches him, whips him into the turnbuckle. Sets him, has him out. Beautiful suplex. Quick float over, hooks that far leg, gets a count of three. Gets a count of three. And so, the victor, making his first appearance here on Georgia Championship Wrestling, a victorious one, Bruno Sammartino Jr.
much, Gordon. I certainly appreciate the compliments. You know, the reason that is, just like I say, you know, is because all the people out there that get behind Tommy Rich, you know, and, you know, I won the Georgia heavyweight belt, I lost it, and now I'm after it again, you know, and that's what it's all about, competition. You know, on any given day, anybody can be beat. You know, you come out here on TV, and a lot of times some people say, why do you wrestle these guys? They ain't got a chance. But that's how you make yourself. Everybody's got to start somewhere. It's where Tommy Rich started, and that's where a lot of these guys are starting at.
Let's take a moment right now to talk about tomorrow night at the Omni. You're going up against Ken Patera, the man who took that title away from you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Pretty Boy, Mr. Ego, you know, whatever you want to talk about Ken Patera, you know, he talks about rednecks and geeks, and he calls all these people names. Well, them's my people he's talking about, Gordon, so that's a little extra incentive, Patera. At the Omni, brother, at the Omni, I'm coming for 2 reasons. Yeah, well, right here I am, brother. Well, I'm ready anytime. The Omni, big mouth. You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do with Patera? I'm going to buy him a mirror. You know, that's all I got to worry about. I'll buy me a big 6x6 mirror where Mr. Muscles can come pose. Yeah, well, get out there and pose, big mouth. Well, right here I am, Jack, yeah. Well, yeah, just like I said, boy, I was so rudely interrupted. You know, no respect. That's what it's all about. But at the Omni, Patera, we'll find out. You know, his mouth might done be overloaded, his britches, Gordon. At the Omni, you know, Patera, listen to him, Gordon. It's going to be pandemonium because when it's all over, I'm going to walk out with a title because I'm going to have me a big mirror there. Yeah, well, right here.
There's the bell, and it is Ken Patera who's outside the ring. And Patera, the Georgia heavyweight champion, getting set to move into the ring against Johnny Savage. 1 fall with a 10-minute time limit. And Patera moves into the ring now, getting set to remove his outer garments and prepare to go into action against Johnny Savage. Patera, of course, who has set numerous international and national records, competed in the Olympics in weightlifting, comes from an extremely athletic family. I'm sure all of you are familiar with his brother, Coach Jack Patera. And so Patera, who also is known as the world's strongest professional wrestler. But he is certainly not the most popular wrestler ever to come down the pike. An argument between Patera and the referee as to about the bell, but the bell is already rung. Savage started to move in, and Patera very quickly lashed out with a foot, caught him, and then beat him over the back of the head. Brings him up. High vertical suplex. And Savage, having his problems as Patera moves in on him again. Patera with perhaps the largest, most massive forearms in professional wrestling. I was talking about powerlifting and all. You got such young men as Bruno Sammartino Jr. in this area right now. It'll be an interesting contest between those two. Forearm that puts Savage back to the canvas. And Savage whipped through those ropes and driven to the concrete outside, and Patera right after him. Patera brings him up. And it's Patera. A boot to the back of the head as he rolls back into the ring. Savage outside. The count was on, but it was broken. But there you see Patera. As I have mentioned about this man before, he is totally and completely narcissistic. Patera has that tremendous strength again. Bodily lifts his man up, brings him over the rope into a full body slam. Patera crashes down across the chest. Patera, with many competitors, almost nonchalant, but has such tremendous power and such effective power. It's Savage, driven into the turnbuckle once again. Patera has him up an atomic knee drop, and that jams the vertebrae. Those 26 vertebrae get quite a jolt when they land on the knee of the opponent. Patera again brings him up. Backbreaker. Again drops him to the canvas. And again did not allow the pinfall. Patera caught him. A good solid forearm that drives Savage back to the canvas. As the armbar. Maintains the pressure on Savage. Savage now trying to escape, tried to come over and hook that ankle, but could not do so as Patera was ahead of him. Patera caught him. Glancing blow. Patera again drives that elbow and the back of his arm across the chest, and Savage coming up. I'm not sure Savage really knows where he's at. And Patera in behind him with a swinging full Nelson. The swinging full Nelson, and that can bring about unconsciousness, and that's exactly what it's doing with Johnny Savage. It is all over. It is all over. And the Georgia heavyweight champion, how long he'll remain that is a moot point, but nonetheless, the Georgia heavyweight champion, Ken Patera, is victorious.
Ted DiBiase is a chance of a lifetime. Ted DiBiase, great athlete, West Texas State, second-generation wrestler. Great athlete, Ted DiBiase. The one thing that's missing from your repertoire, Jack, it's the goal on my shoulder. And a lot of people's talked about this match. Said it's going to be a great scientific match. Yes, it will. But the dream's got a little bully in him, you know. Just a little bit, and I ain't going to play with you, Jack, because I went too hard, too long for what I'm carrying on my shoulder right now. It's going to be a good while before they come down the pike and get it, you understand? So it's going to be one hell of a match. Dusty Rhodes and Ted DiBiase. The Omni won't forget it. But I don't know if you're really ready for the battle, baby. Because in the heat of battle, the dream can get real, real bad.
You know, of course, you mentioned in high school, your roommate, the two of you battled for the same position on the football team.
That's right, Gordon. And like I said before, Dusty and I, and everybody knows that we've been friends for a long time. Just like Dusty just said, he says, Teddy, I'm not going to play with you. Well, Dusty, you may have chased Harley Race for an awful long time, but I've been chasing the world title since I was old enough to see what a wrestling match was and know what it was all about. Wrestling is not simply and the World Heavyweight Championship is not simply my career goal, Dusty. It's my lifetime ambition, my lifetime dream. And you said I better be ready and I better come with everything I got. Well, Dusty, I'm coming. I'm coming with both barrels loaded, and I'm coming to win.
Thank you so very much. Ted DiBiase, truly a great athlete and a fine, fine young gentleman. Well, Gummer, I'm talking, of course, about Bruno Sammartino Jr., and may I compliment you on an outstanding match.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Soley. May I also like to add that it's such a pleasure for me to be here in Georgia area, because here you have the top competition of the whole world. So such an honor and such a thrill for me to be competing here in Georgia, and I just hope that I can prove myself to the fans of a worthy competitor here.
Well, I certainly think you're off to a doggone good start. I mentioned, of course, during your match, it was just 1979 that you were declared the strongest teenager in the United States. You're a powerlifting champion.
Yes, that's all behind me now. Now, of course, I'm a professional wrestler, so I have to go on. But that is correct. All my life, I trained with the weights to prepare myself for the ring there. And now I'm trying to do the best of it.
And you had the greatest teacher in the world, too, I might add, your dad.
Oh, yes. That's been the biggest influence to me here. He's coached me. He's brought me up. He's taught me the basics. He's brought me on to where I'm trying to get. So, yeah, so he's helped me out a great deal.
Certainly no question about that. We'll be talking a lot more to Bruno Sammartino Jr., but right now let me turn some attention to... Thanks so much.
Okay.
Real pleasure. Now let me turn my attention to this new tag team combination, and what a combination they have proven to be. George Wells and Bruce Reed.
Yeah, we're starting to come along right now. We're not quite satisfied with our performance right at the best tag teams in the nation.
And Well, may I just say it was not too terribly long ago, Mr. Mulligan, that you and Mr. Brody had your problems.
Well, I want to tell you something, Gordon. I'll tell you, first of all, let me tell you, I'm proud to be here today. But what we have here is a failure between me and Brody to communicate just a little bit. But he has got to understand something. He is not going to shove me around like he does everybody else. And I understand we got a little piece of film there of the last match, Gordon. And I'm going to tell you something right now, Brody. It is a knockdown, drag-out type situation every time we get in the ring. You know, it's a very embarrassing situation for you, Brody, to find out somebody, when you give them a punch, a couple of your teeth knock loose. Or your nose comes off. It doesn't matter. It can be any place, anywhere, anytime, Gordon. I'll guarantee you we're going to get together.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do right now. Let's take a look at the last time these two men met in the squared circle. And you talk about a collision of giant proportions. This was exactly it. In fact, the matter is the match went all over.
Well, I'll tell you what, this thing, by no stretch of the imagination, can be billed as a wrestling match, because every time Brody and I get together, we just go at it. There's some punches right there, and those are some bombs laying in there. Some big 1-2s. Brody's a big man, about 300 pounds. We eyeball to eyeball right now. Now, Brody understands only one thing, and that's brute force. And here it comes right there. There's an atomic bomb dropping on him, spinning around, Gordon. When you're dealing with an element like this, when you're dealing with a person like Brody, there's a big slam. I'm going to tell you what, I weigh 310 pounds. Brody's without a doubt. Look at that chest. He's a strong man. He's one of the strongest men in the world. We can't take that away from him. But as I was saying before, he only understands one thing. And you've got to take it to him, and you've got to take it to him hard and fast. Here we go. Probably one of the first times that Brody's ever been off the feet in his life. And I gave him just a little extra added shove there because I was trying to injure the man. He's taking control of the match right now, Gordon. He's got me outside. He's got me on the ropes just a little bit. But with a man like him, with a man like Brody, you got to be careful. You got to watch every minute. Here he is right here. He's fixing to work me over. I'm fighting back the best I can. He's laid him in. He's got me hurt a little bit, Gordon. But I realize at this point right now that I've got to do something for the state of Texas. I've got to come back. I almost broke his jaw right there. 2 teeth just flew loose. Right into the post, Brody goes. Now, Brody's back in the ring. Every time we get together, this thing can start in the ring, but it winds up on the outside, it winds up everywhere. Now, I'm a little bit upset now. I'm fixing to lose my cool at this point, without a doubt. And I'm still hammering Brody, but he's taking everything I got, and he's a tough man. He can hang right in there. Here we are going, we're back outside again. We go all over the stadium. We go all over the arena. We're going down the aisle right there. It makes no difference. Here I am saying right here, I'm asking for a no disqualification match. No rules, everything barred is what I'm saying right now. I'm begging for it. And Gordon, it doesn't matter where it's at. You pick any state in the union, you pick any place you want to, Brody. Because you and I are going to get together. You're going to quit running roughshod all over these kids down here and quit pushing them around, because this old Texas boy, you can't push around anymore. So, Brody, all you got to do is be a man for the first time in your life. Step in the ring, and we'll see how tough Bruiser Brody really is, Gordon.
Thank you so very much. Has just appeared on the scene, as it is quite obvious.
As a gentleman, I want to make one thing clear that you didn't make clear. In the last Omni, Bruiser Brody was the winner, so the score in this whole thing is BB1, Cowboy Mulligan 0. Thank you. Now, as the regular Bruiser Brody, I want to make one other thing clear. Come in here real close, real close. I want you to look at my face. I've been beat up before. I've been beat up by bigger guys than Mulligan, and I've been beat up by smaller guys. And I ain't ashamed to look at nobody out there and tell about it. But let me tell you one thing you forgot, Mulligan. And you better remember it before you climb in that ring in the Omni. If you're one of those few that do get a piece of my...
Well, with a 10-minute time limit. And the bell is rung, and it's Kitchens in the red trunks watching Brody. Brody closes in on him very quickly. Brody, big, massive, powerful man, extremely dangerous. Asks no quarter and gives no quarter. Brody smashing him into the turnbuckle, and Kitchens now thrown from the ring. And this is the thing about Brody. He just gives a man no chance whatsoever. Brody moving against him, plants a boot into the side of the rib cage. And it is Brody smashing him on the ring apron. forces him back into the ring, and Brody moves up. And this man, gigantuan in proportion, uses the flat of the foot again. And Brody obviously thrives on competition, and he is not finding a tremendous amount of it here in Kitchens because he is completely intimidated, the man, from the beginning. Brody, like Patera, like so many others, Ted DiBiase, Blackjack Mulligan, just in superb physical condition, tremendous stamina, great drive, and furious intensity. And Kitchens has not been able to move the first time effectively against Brody. Brody has him up a full body slam. Brody crashes down across his chest, drives that knee into the chest. They count at 3, it is all over. And wait a second. Blackjack Mulligan just moved into the ring.
The name of the game's money, big boy. You don't get nothing for free from Bruiser Brody. You look at me, you pay the bucks. Mulligan will get his match when I'm through.
Well, indeed. And again, Mr. Brody seems to take a particular delight in...
Gordon, I want to apologize for this man's manners. I'm going to tell you something right now. You've got some lessons to learn, Brody, and I'm going to have to be the one that teaches them to him. I'll apologize for that, too.
Fair enough. We'll be back in just a moment. King Kong Mosca is back in action here in Georgia, and waiting now for that bell to ring. King Kong Mosca going up against Ken Timms. One fall, a 10-minute time limit. Mosca, who had an outstanding amateur career in high school, college, and then, of course, went on to play in the Canadian Football League for a number of years. A devastating competitor. Mosca now with a front chancery on Timms. Keeps the chancery. Oh, brother. All of the weight, all of the pressure put on the neck and the spine in that particular instance. Back into the ring ropes now. The referee calls for a break. And it is Timms pounding away at the midsection of King Kong Mosca. And Mosca retaliates very quickly. A short forearm that drives Timms to the canvas. Now a snap mare that takes him back once again. Brings him into the turnbuckle. And Mosca beginning to dominate this situation. Timms was caught and driven back to the canvas again. Timms coming up very slowly. Mosca again with a ripping right hand. Again, using that front chancery very effectively, keeping the left arm and the head imprisoned at the same time. And Timms trying to whip him into that far turnbuckle, and it was Mosca hanging onto those ropes and then using a forearm very effectively. Mosca in behind his man now. Mosca keeps that pressure on, keeps that head twisted. And Timms would like to break free if he could. The referee keeps checking with him.
Scratch him!
Timms trying to rip across the face of King Kong Mosca. Finally is effective, and it is Timms now using that elbow. And Mosca just Fires to the midsection, fires one, glances off the jaw. Mosca catches him again. Mosca, over the years, has suffered his share of injuries. Well, you can hear Mosca making his comments. He, too, is a tremendously powerful man. Had shoulder surgery a couple of years ago, but has recovered, obviously, 110% from that. And Mosca goes for the sleeper hold. Mosca has the sleeper hold. And this is something I might point out once again should never be used by any of you who are watching. It's an exceptionally dangerous hold and is exceptionally effective, as you can see, as Ken Timms lapses into unconsciousness. Of course, it is Mosca's responsibility now to revive the man. And this is exactly what Mosca's in the process of doing now. Timms, partially conscious now, brought about by a rapid blow to the back of the heart. And so there's your victor, King Kong Mosca.